Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony, and welcome to the first edition of BnA Weekly or BnA Sports Weekly. This is a series I'm going to start that's going to be on like every Friday or so, once a week, and it's going to be different segments of sports things that don't really interest me to make a separate video, but I feel like I want to include, so let's get started. Now, before we get this video started, I'd like to let you guys know I released my mock draft 2.0, so this is it. You can go through the individual picks, but I just want to release my mock draft. I'm gonna have one more mock draft before the NFL draft, and this is how it stands right now. Let's get into the video. So, welcome back. This is how I did during my March Madness predictions. These are my two main brackets. I had this one's for my cross country team. The other one was for my old cross country team, like my old coach and stuff. And this one was where I did with a bunch of YouTubers brackets and stuff. And then you can see all the way down I have different brackets. I'll explain them. First of all, I want to congratulate the winners. All of them, it seems like they were like the first picks for a lot of them. You know, you have ESPN 9096, whatever, 15, 11. And so it just goes to show you, nobody really knows what they're doing. And a lot of people just created random BPI brackets. And now let's go to my brackets. Let's see how I did. So obviously the top three were all the Virginia ones that I picked. The two that there were 22nd and 23rd brackets, I did those by BPI simulations. I also had these two by BPI. So you look at it, 4 of my top 5 were just BPI simulations. 5 of my top 6. Then I have my 2 regular ones. Board and Arrow 1 actually did pretty well. Got Gators all the way. Then a lot of BPI simulations. I also had defensive points per game. As you notice, Texas Tech and Virginia were really good at defense. So Virginia ended up winning it in my bracket. I don't know why Texas Tech didn't make it that far. That's kind of weird how Texas Tech didn't really... because I guess they lost to Michigan. Anyway, so looking at the rest of them, I have Q Squad, which I picked Syracuse in the Final Four, but that didn't really work. My Final Four wasn't as good as it is, but looking at it, based on offensive points per game, that didn't do too well. I did alphabetical order, and Auburn really took the cake on that one, where they went to the Final Four. I had them winning it all, but whatever. Then I had my school bias. My school bias did pretty well, too, and a couple more BPIs. Then I did North, South, East, and West. Now, this was really tedious to do, but I ended up doing it. So it turns out that the West team, I picked the westernmost team as far as location to win each game, and the West did best out of like all the other locations. Then I had college football that did pretty well. It did pretty well in the first couple rounds. It was my top bracket for a while, but then it kind of died out. Then I had name length, East is Beast, We the North, and reverse alphabetical, which never really had a chance. Then the Southern teams, I mean, if UCF would have won that game, it would have done better, but, you know, whatever. And then the worst strategy was true random. So I had a bunch of strategies. Defensive points per game was the best strategy that I came up with. And that's because, you know, defense wins. I mean, if in reality, I think Texas Tech had the better defense out of all these teams. So honestly, if I would have picked Texas Tech to go pretty far and I wouldn't have just gone with the points per game with actually like ranked defense, I think I would have done pretty well. This one I'm actually excited for. And if you're wondering, no, I didn't win any of my brackets. But let's see how my women's bracket did. 19%. I know I picked UConn to win it all, and they obviously didn't. Let's see how I did. If I go like that. Let's see how much of the... Because I stopped tracking this after a couple of bit. So I didn't have any of the final teams. And I had two of the Final Four. That's pretty good. It's funny because if you look at the Elite Eight, yeah, it's 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. That's how lopsided women's basketball is at the moment. I tried to pick some upsets, but apparently not. Welcome to the segment of the video where I'm going to give you guys my anti-mock draft. Yes, you heard it right, anti-mock draft. This is what, if your team picks the person that you see or makes a trade that you see, it's going to be a bad move. So I have the Raiders getting Kyler Murray first overall. Now, why this is a bad trade for both of them is I didn't have the Cardinals getting a lot of compensation for it. You see, I only have them as number 1 and the number 27 pick. This is because, you know, if they got 3 first-round picks for the number 1 overall, that'd be a good trade, but they didn't get all of them. They only got 2 of them. And, you know, you still have a good quarterback in Josh Rosen. It's not like you don't have a quarterback at all. And why is it bad for the Raiders? One, oh, you didn't give up that much for him, but you're expecting to rebuild your defense this year. This is the make or break year for Carr, and there are plenty of better quarterbacks in the next draft, apparently. So if you suck this year, most likely you're going to be picking high, and you'll be able to pick one of those quarterbacks next year. Next, I have the 49ers drafting Quinnen Williams. Yeah, they're going to get cute. They're not going to select Nick Bosa. And the Jets aren't going to select Nick Bosa either because they think they're going to need an edge guy. Both teams are in a similar scenario with their defense. They're good up the middle, but not good on the edge. The Jets and 49ers get a little cute. Then I have the Buccaneers drafting Dwayne Haskins. That's right. The Raiders and Buccaneers both get their quarterback of the future. And I think they pick a little bit too high for him. You wanted to surround James with pieces. I made a video about that. But, yeah, you pick Dwayne Haskins. And then the Giants, Daniel Jones is probably going to fall to 17. People don't think so, but picking Daniel Jones, number 6, I think it's way too high for him. I think that would be a big mistake for the Giants. I think they should draft defense. A lot of defense players available because 2 quarterbacks were already taken. Next, I missed the Cardinals, but Nick Bosa, I mean, that would be a good pick, I guess, but I don't know. I had to have Nick Bosa going up there somewhere, so that's why I have him to the Cardinals. Next, I have the Jaguars selecting a cornerback. They don't need a cornerback, but Byron Murphy on a lot of people's boards is the best available. Then I have Rashawn Gary for the Lions. They need an edge rush, so I picked a defensive tackle for them. You're welcome to help you guys out. Then I have DK Metcalf. I was about to have him going to the Lions, but I was like, you know what? Whatever. So DK Metcalf, they added a lot of weapons at wide receiver, but I don't think DK Metcalf it would be good with the Bills. You need an offensive lineman, and plus, every single offensive lineman in the draft was available, and you didn't pick one. Wow. Then I have the Broncos selecting Brian Burns. He's been climbing up draft boards, but they already have 2 edge rushers. I have the Bengals selecting Devin White. They already dressed their linebacker position. If anything, you want to, I made a video about them today, actually. It's going to go up soon, but you're going to want to address the either the safety position or anybody else besides linebacker and corner on that team. The Packers cornerback, you need a defensive line, not cornerback. It's not part of their needs. Dolphins, another team I'm going to highlight. The Dolphins, they need defense or, offensive line, something besides a tight end. Ryan Fitzpatrick is not a part of your long-term solution, so why pick a tight end? That doesn't really make sense. And the Falcons, they could get Ed Oliver, but they decide not to. Washington, they already have a good offensive line. The Panthers, I don't know. I just think that they're screwed up. This is actually a good pick for the Panthers in a way. If Ed Oliver falls to him, I think they'll gladly take him. The Giants have them selecting Josh Jacobs. He's kind of like an anti-Saquon Barkley type guy. He's going to get you a couple yards. You actually might need a guy like that, but you didn't dress your porous defense at all in this draft, so that would be a mistake. Then the Vikings taking the best safety available, arguably, Nasir Adderley. I think they should draft a center. You have a lot of centers available, so if they pick him, I don't think that's a good idea. Titans taking Noah Fant. You already addressed a lot of your wide receiver issues. Maybe you need a tight end. I'm not sure about that whole situation, but I think you need a cornerback, and you have the 2 out of the top 3 cornerbacks still available. Actually, no, Greedy Williams is out, but DeAndre Baker is still available, and I think you take him if he's on the board. You have the Steelers selecting A.J. Brown. Antonio Brown Part 2. I just thought it would be funny. Jerry Simmons to the Seahawks. I think that they need to dress offensive line. Them and the Texans. I both have them not taking an offensive lineman. I think that'd be huge mistakes, and I think that's a fireable offense if either of those teams do not select an offensive lineman first overall in the first round of this draft. They have the Ravens selecting their quarterback of the future, Drew Lock. If you pick Drew Lock, that'd be dumb. You need to give your quarterback a wide receiver. You need to give him some talent. You give him a running back. Now give him either an offensive lineman or wide receiver. It's that simple. Or maybe try to address the big pieces that you missed this offseason. Don't go for a quarterback. He's another Joe Flacco, kind of wild thrower. He's a big arm and stuff like that. Then you have Jonah Williams going to the Raiders. You wanted to draft defense. You didn't go defense. You picked an offensive lineman to better protect Derek Carr to see if he can do it for his future. But Kyler Murray might even be the starting quarterback too, so that wouldn't really make any sense. Eagles, they need a cornerback too. That's why I picked Jalen Ferguson, because I hope they do that. Then you have the Colts selecting another tackle to make themselves the best offensive line in history. Nobody is ever going to pass through them. Obviously, they're like the purple people eaters. Then have the Cardinals selecting Paris Campbell. This could help with Kyler Murray. He helped Dwayne Haskins out with a home run, like a quick out to Paris Campbell, quick inside the slot, and he's gone. He's gone. I think the Cardinals should select somebody better available. I don't think Paris Campbell would be good. Actually, he might help the wide receiver core, but the Cardinals had to take somebody that kind of made sense. Draymond Jones, this could help, but I think he's a little bit... I don't think he's the right fit for their defense. So 3-4-4. You guys understand, like, from what I looked at, it doesn't seem like Draymond Jones would be a fit. That's why I have him going to the Chiefs. Then I had Ja'Kai Polite, Marquise Brown, Andre Dillard rounding it out. Patriots should have a good offensive line this year, especially with their offensive coach. Andre Dillard, even though he's good, I don't think he'd fit. I think you need to give him a wide receiver. The Rams, trying to have that high-flying power offense. They need a linebacker, especially Devin Bush still available, as you can see at the bottom. They didn't draft him. Kai Polite to the Packers. I think this is a good pick for them. I think if the Packers can end up with Ja'Kai Polite, that'd be good. But he's been falling off draft boards based on his health and different things like that. People don't think he's NFL ready, so his stock is going to drop to the second round. And I think you can get a better offensive line for Aaron Rodgers or something else. Then again, if your team picked any one of these guys in the draft, you're screwed. And unless they end up falling to them in a later round or something and they end up getting good value, then whatever. But now for this segment, I'd like to call the worst take of the week or something like that. It's a developing show, whatever. So my dumb take of the week is about the Women's College National Basketball Championship. What did they discuss? Was it how Baylor, won their first championship in years? Was it the fall of UConn? Was it, there's a changing of the guard. There's a basketball dynasty in Baylor, potentially. No, it was about men being coaches of women's basketball, not being the right thing. In my opinion, this is a really dumb opinion. I'm going to play a little clip from the show so you can get the gist of what they're saying.
How are these young women looking up and seeing someone that looks like them, preparing them for the future? We don't have enough female role models. We don't have enough visible women leaders. We don't have enough women in power.
And that is this. She is 1,000% correct. There are not enough women in power. Women have been marginalized and pigeonholed. And quite frankly, it's kind of embarrassing when men religiously will admit women are smarter than us. They just are. If 99% of the men or 100% of the men are coaching men's sports, how come the same isn't applicable to women? We got enough. As men, I'm talking about white, black, Latino, Asian, doesn't matter. As men, the male species, we have enough. Why is it that we have to be coaching women's basketball? Gino Auriemma is phenomenal. He's a winner. I have always had a problem with the fact that he ain't the coach of the men's UConn team.
This makes no sense. I mean, men are probably way more qualified than women in some cases, and women are probably way more qualified than men in some situations. But I don't think that, people, when they're hiring, they look at men and women who are, like, a man's way less qualified, and they go, you know what, you're a man, I think you can deal with this because you know more about basketball. If a woman knew more about basketball, they'd hire them. And honestly, I think it's stereotyped towards women in this scenario because women, I think, can do a better job handling the locker room. They know what certain tendencies they may have when they play, may understand them better. I mean, usually what happens is the best coaches coach. I mean, if you took a survey of 1,000 women, I would say around 150 to 200 women would say that they're somewhat interested in basketball. Never mind college basketball, women's college basketball. Like, I don't think the women coaches, women want to coach basketball. I don't think that this is the case, and I don't think you should force women to do something that they don't want and force unqualified people or less qualified people to fill roles. It's not like racism from 100 years and you're trying to reintroduce people into the workforce now that they've been oppressed for so long. I think women, if they're good enough to coach, I think they'd coach. I don't think a head guy looks at it and goes, oh, there's a man and a woman. I don't think they go, oh, I'm going to pick the man because they probably know more about basketball than the woman, even though they have similar qualifications. Now it's time for our hot take of the week, brought to you by Wendy's. We're like Burger King, but we have square patties. Anyway, so my hot take is the Yankees aren't winning the World Series this year. I'm completely sold. They cannot beat the Red Sox. They cannot beat the Astros. And they're going to have to be one of them. They're going to have to be one of them if they're going to win the World Series. It's really upsetting to me that the Yankees just can't get over the hump. I don't know what the fix is. It just seems like the Yankees, whenever they play the Astros, they play down to them. Something goes wrong. A hop, a skip goes somewhere. And I don't know what it is. My Yankees, I picked them for the World Series this year, but I don't think so. It's year after year. Lose to the Red Sox, lose to the Astros. It's I don't know what they have on us. It's something psychological. We always get injured, then we look promising, then we get injured again, then we look promising again, and then Judge goes cold. We rely too much on the home run that, everything needs to go right, and hopefully things do go right. I could be completely wrong, but that's the hot take of the week. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a like rating. Let me know what segments you want to see next week, and yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.